handle your dog, what things does he like, or how is he behaviour-wise?
He's super sweet. He has had an injury to his face, so he does get a bit head shy, so just be really careful around his head. He does take treats. He will sort of sniff a little bit when you go in with him. Just sort of let him come up to you. But yeah, he should be perfectly fine.
Does he like treats and all that?
Yeah, he likes treats.
I'll start the whole thing all over again. Okay, so I'm just doing the animal safety plan with Jonas here. So he is a dog. He's a Jack Russell. So the physical characters. On his right eye, he has his eyes blind, so there's obviously an injury that's occurred there. His fur is quite healthy. He seems to be like he has been desexed, so I'll write that as well. Desexed, healthy coat. Okay, and for his visible identification, he has his collar with a Sutherlandshire code on it, so that would be for us when we put it into our system or someone sees it and then associate it with our council, our animal shelter. The hazards, we have this pole here which would be a tripping hazard, so if I come out I may trip on that, and Jonas may also trip on that as well. So I'll put that down. Infectious control procedures. So with the infection control procedures, identify at least one infection control procedure. So what we do with the kennels is that we like to clean it with F10, and we like to use citronella as well. So we clean that out every morning, and obviously if it needs a good clean, I believe that is it with that one. Okay, I'll write that down. Okay. Behaviour observed. He seems quite relaxed at the moment. He's very interested of me at the moment, like sitting at the fence, sniffing and sooking, and I believe that is because he wants to come outside. Yeah, he seems just intrigued in what is happening outside his kennel at the moment. I'll put that down. And okay. Is the behaviour a common trait? I would say that would be a common behaviour, just because obviously they're being let out all the time and he's used to that routine. So I'm going to say that is. Okay. The animal's likely emotional state, arousal level, and motivations. Okay. So from what I can see, he seems quite relaxed. I think he definitely wants to have a pat as he's sooking and whinging for attention, as you can see. His arousal level is kind of like at a low. He's not too excited, he's not jumping around and jumping at the fence and barking and stuff like that, so he's quite relaxed at the moment. Motivations, the owner said that he has some motivations with treats, so that's what we're going to use today as well. And he seems to like pats as well, so we're just going to do that as well. So triggers or behaviour that may pose a risk. So with this, he may bite, just because the owner did say that he is sensitive around his shoulders and potentially around his face due to the blind eye. So if I have to make sure that he sees me at all times. Okay, so the way I'm going to handle the dog, so low stress handling technique. So the way I'm going to handle him, just because he is an older dog and he does have an injury to his eye, I'm going to make sure I support his back legs and his bum, and make sure I support his front legs. I will obviously show how you do that. Okay, feedback of animal behaviour. Use objective description to describe the animal's behaviour for other team members. We will do that after. Okay, so I'm just about to go in with Jonas. I have a slip lead. We use these at the animal shelter as it's part of our work uniform, I guess. So it's easy to slip over the dog and transport them to the yards, or if any handling, if we need to take them to the vans or anything like that. And it's quite easy to clean, like we just spray it with F10 and then it's sanitized and ready to go for the next dog. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with Jonas here. As you can see, Jonas is jumping on the fence now, so that is obviously not ideal. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to slowly open the door and just put my foot in and just making sure that he doesn't come out. So I'm just going to step in the side and close the door. And I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to crouch down a little bit so he doesn't feel intimidated by me. And then let him come up to me. Obviously, he's quite friendly, having no issues. I'm just going to let him sniff me first so he can get used to me. Hello. He's wagging his tail, he's quite excited. He's not scared of me in any way. He's quite intrigued, and I think you can see the lead, so he's quite excited to go outside. So I'm just going to try and slip the lead over him. I'm going to use a treat so I can get him to put his head through, so I'm not forcing it over to him, so I'm just making him think it's his idea. Oh, okay. Come on, Jonas. Jonas, ready? Good boy. As you can see, I just put that on him easily. He's not stressed out by it. He's quite happy that I'm there. Obviously, I'm just being careful around his back of his neck, just because the owner stated that he's not quite comfortable with that. So I'm just going to let him relax for a second. Are you ready? So I'm just going to make sure I go out first, so Jonas, I can make sure that I don't trip and that I can safely see that there's no hazards outside, any other animals or people or anything like that. So I'm just going to do that first. Oh, and we're just going to make sure Jonas isn't coming out first, just because if there is a hazard, I am able to identify it first. As I can see, there's no hazards or anything, so I'm just going to get Jonas to come out. Come on, Jonas. Good boy. So Jonas is safely come out of the kennel, and now I'm going to go transport him back to the yards. Okay, so I put Jonas into the yards now, so he's safely being transported and he's secure in the yards. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands so I can go interact with the next animal. So now I'm going to show you me washing my hands. I'm just going to get this. And now my hands are nice and clean and ready for the next animal. Okay, I'm going on to my second animal now. So I'm going to be doing a cat and his name's Gerald. I'm just going to go and speak to the owner and see how he behaves and he's like anything that he's afraid of or anything like that. Hello. Okay, can you tell me anything about Gerald or any like fears or anything like that?
Gerald's super sweet with people,
Yeah.
absolutely loves people, absolutely loves pets. He is not a big fan of other cats.
Yeah.
He does tend to hiss at them a bit. So he definitely has to be on his own,
Yeah,
not with
okay.
any other cats.
Yeah.
He doesn't particularly like barking dogs because he gets quite scared, and again he hisses.
Yeah.
He definitely is a big foodie, absolutely loves food and treats.
Yeah.
So that's a really good way of coaxing him, but other than that he's super sweet. And
Okay.
he's fine being picked up. He doesn't love it, but he tolerates it.
Yeah. So if I scruff him by any chance, like if it's needed, is that going to be okay for him?
Yeah, he doesn't particularly like it, but he will tolerate it.
Okay, no worries. All right, thank you very much, and I'm going to go handle your animal now. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open Gerald's condo now, and I'm going to handle him and transport him over to the play pen that we have, and I'm just going to let him see how I am first. While I'm doing that, I'm going to fill out the form on my laptop that I will have up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have the animal safety plan up on my laptop. I'm just going to be observing Gerald while I'm filling this out, and going from there, and once I finish that, that's when I'm going to be handling Gerald. Okay, so Gerald is a cat. His breed is domestic, I believe. Yep, domestic. Physical characteristics. Gerald on his right eye has mainly a black patch. On his back right leg, he has a black patch of fur on his back of his knee. Does have lots of black spots everywhere. They're mainly larger than small, but those are definitely one of the very noticeable things about him. So I'm just going to write that. Visible identification. From what I can see, he doesn't really have any. I'm assuming he would have a collar, but overall he doesn't have one. Except we do have the cards. So we just have the cage cards here, which have all his information. It tells us he's desexed as well, so that's also another physical characteristic. Obviously we can't see that first glance, but this is all the information that we need, and just a little bit about him. So I'm just going to write that. I'm just going to add in that he's desexed as well. So that's one of them. Okay, identify at least one hazard. So with this, with a hazard, he may or may not scratch or bite me, just because he may not like a new person, and as I'm handling him, and if I do have to scruff him, he may not like that, so he might retaliate. So I'm just going to write that one down. Another hazard is the door. As much as you may hit your head on it as you're pulling out the cat, or he might frail apart, and then this it comes swinging open and hits the person, me, obviously. Over that, there's no hazards that I can see. Action control procedure. So with this, we clean the condos with F10 with a solution of 500. So when we do that, we spray it all out and we wipe it all out. And if we do need to completely clean it out, we use 125 solution with F10, and that is when used when a cat has left. So behaviour observed. So far, he's not too interested in me. He's just relaxed. He's looking around. Obviously, he can see that I'm here. He's having a look. Overall, he's just observing his surroundings. He's grooming himself at the moment, so he's not too worried or stressed about me being here. He's just wandering around doing his own thing, not too worried about me. Is the behaviour a common trait? I would say that's a pretty common trait, just because cats usually do that. It's not an unheard thing. So I've just put yes for that one. Likely emotional state, arousal level, and motivations. So from what I can see, he's quite relaxed. He's not agitated. He's not overly excited. He's just quite relaxed, coming up to the glass and meowing and vocalizing. So with that, he seems quite relaxed in this environment and towards me. So I'm going to assume that when I open the condo door, he's not going to be scared or frightened. He's going to want to come up to me and investigate his surroundings and me. From what the owner said, he may take treats or he may not, just depends. But he would probably be quite motivated from it. His arousal level, I would say, is not very high. He's just quite in the middle at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Anyway. Animal trigger or behavior that may pose as a safety risk. So with that, I would say if he does react in a bad way, like I said, he may or may not bite me or scratch me, which then will result like... Okay, so I'm just going to be going into Gerald's condo now. I have some treats with me. I do have him in my treat pouch as well, just so if he does need some influencing to come near me, or any influencing, I don't know. We're just going to do that and give that to him so he's more relaxed and going, oh okay, that's a good thing, that she's nice, blah blah. So now I'm just going to go into the condo. I'm just going to make sure I slowly open it and make sure I keep somewhat of my body out of, like, in the way, so he's not able to jump out and fall down. So I'm just going to open it now. As you can see, he's quite intrigued that I'm here and he's trying to paw at me. I'm just going to let him sniff me. I'm just going to keep my body in the way so he doesn't come out. He's quite intrigued, so he's not too bothered. So I'm just going to see if I can give him a treat. So I'm just going to leave those treats there for him. See if he's intrigued by it. Yeah, and he's taking a treat. So he's probably going to associate with me with a treat, so that's a positive thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let him sniff me. So what I'm going to do, he seems quite relaxed with me. He's sniffing me, he's touching me. He's not too bothered from me being around here. So I'm just going to give him a pat on the back of the ear, just because this is more of a neutral place for him that he may prefer. And as you can see, he's not too worried about it. He's like, oh, this is nice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and open this a little bit more, just because I have to get in here just to be able to handle him. So what I'm going to do is, as I can see, he's quite relaxed. He doesn't mind me patting him. He's really leaning into it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick him up. I'm just going to try and put my hands underneath his arms here and just pick him up from the bum. And as you can see, I'm just holding him very securely, just putting my hand over his shoulder so he's not able to jump out of my arms, and keeping his bum secure, and his arms are resting on mine. So he's in a very safe, comfortable spot, so he's not going to be able to jump out of my arms or anything like that. Okay. And I'm just going to close that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take him out to the play area, and hopefully everything goes well. Anyway, we're just going to head out to the play area now. Obviously, I'm just giving my surroundings a look. He seems quite relaxed. There's obviously barking, so he's very alert at the moment. I'm just keeping him comfortable with patting him and going from there. If necessary, I might have to scruff him just because now he's starting to pull. He seems a little bit uncomfortable with the noises, so I'm just going to try and scruff him just so he's more comfortable, and placing him under holding his bum so he feels more secure beneath his bum, just so he seems more comfortable. Obviously, it's quite hard to tell as he's fighting me. I'm just going to walk over to the... As you can see, he's just hissed. Obviously, the owner did notify us of the dog, him not liking dogs. So we're just going to keep him scruffed. And now what I'm going to do, as he seems he wants to get down, so I'm just going to let him gently go down. And now he's quite relaxed. Just giving him some pats to kind of give him that confidence and that little, okay, it's all right, no worries. And now he's eating some food and he's quite content with his environment. I'm just going to go talk to my colleague about the animal behaviours and how both animals behave, so they're aware of the situation, and see if we can find anything to better suit this cat or the dog. So I just had an interaction with Jonas, and he went quite good. He was quite comfortable. He wasn't too stressed about me or anything like that. I did notice he was quite uncomfortable with the back of his neck. So maybe we just try and work with him with that and slowly introduce him to the, hands touching the back of his neck. He's right on the lead. He didn't seem too stressed about, obviously he did try to pull a little bit, but as you just give him a little tug, not quite hard, but just, just a little, just to kind of get him aware and be like, oh, okay, will you come back? And then goes back and is quite chill. Also, he does like treats. He's quite intrigued by them. He will do anything for them. So that is a very good thing to use. Maybe with placing our hands on the back of his neck, maybe giving him treats at the same time to associate that with the behavior and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. So I'm just going to go speak to my colleague about Gerald and his behaviours and how he reacted, so she's aware of the situation as well. Thank you. Okay, so I had an interaction with Gerald. I spoke to the owner about him, and he seems to not like other dogs. So maybe when we are transporting him to the play area, we just keep him very secure in the arms. I do have to resort to scruffing him just because he was trying to get out of my arms when he went with the other dogs. And when the dog started barking, he did seem very on edge and didn't like the situation. So maybe we can maybe find a solution where if he goes out into the play area, we could probably do it when the dogs aren't in the yards. And then when they do come back to the yards, we can transport him back in time for him not to be stressed about the situation. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay, cool. He also did love treats. He doesn't like to take them out of your hand, but we have